An elderly woman falls in her kitchen. She's found several days later, but she's still alive. And the woman is taken to the hospital where she is told she can no longer live alone and has to live in hospice until the time comes. Not wanting to be unwilling put in that place, that woman starts to think of alternative plans and wishes physician-assisted suicide were a legal option for her to consider. PAS, or physician-assisted suicide, is what I'm here to talk to you about today. I feel that PAS for terminally mentally ill or depressed patients should be considered and federally legalized. After exploring sources such as Time Magazine, ReligiousTolerance.org, and CNN Health, I have come prepared to share with you why I believe PAS is a fair and safe way for individuals to leave this earth and why it should be legalized. This may be a darker topic for some of you, but try to think of it this way. People with intensive care are in large amounts of pain and knowledgeable to their disease or condition, and should they not have the right to ask their doctor if they can end the process earlier? Jack Kevorkian believed individuals had the right to die, so much so that he devised a machine which, according to Dime, he used to assist over 130 people in their deaths. Since the Supreme Court ruled it illegal in 1997, several U.S. states have passed their own laws, either allowing assisted suicide in forms or outlawing it entirely. The main problem most states deal with is whether or not allowing physician-assisted suicide is ethical. Well, I would like to ask them if withholding PAS is ethical. Exploring all this and more, let's begin with Jack Kevorkian and his machine. In the late 1980s, Dr. Kevorkian developed his machine with a Thantron, a device which an individual could press one button or pull a string, and through a series of chemicals being injected into them would subsequently die. This first assisted suicide the doctor performed was on Jane Adkins, a 54-year-old Alzheimer's patient in 1980 in Oregon. By inserting a single IV line into her arm, Dr. Kevorkian assisted Jane Adkins in her death. This was the only thing that he took part in the process. The rest was all done by the machine, where the single IV line is connected to 3 individual lines connected to syringes connected to 3 individual bottles. The first bottle contains saline, which is salt water, and the next contains sodium thipentanol, which is a sleep-inducing barbiturate. And finally, the third is a mixture of potassium chloride and pancuronium bromide. The potassium immediately stops the heart, sort of a heart attack, while the bromide relaxes the muscles to avoid any spasming during the process. Once Dr. Kevorkian broadcasted a taped suicide on the CBS 60 Minutes in 1998. The fight for legalized assisted suicide was basically over. However, when he got out of jail in 2008, Kevorkian focused on legalizing PAS, but sadly died 2 months ago in June. Although Kevorkian's individual fight has been over basically since the late 90s, several U.S. states have kept this an issue of concern over the past 15 years. Since 1997, Oregon has made it legal for patients to seek PAS, and in March 1998, a breast cancer patient became the first U.S. citizen to commit suicide legally. Also, 9 years later in Oregon, around 45 people in 2007 committed suicide legally. In Washington, patients with 6 or less months to live are allowed self-administered lethal doses of medications as of 2008, and by 2009, Montana legalized PAS as well. Since not many states have come to resolutions on PAS laws, the main questions has to be, is physician-assisted suicide ethical to everyone involved? Is it not true that we have a moral right to choose what we will do with our lives, as long as we are not inflicting harm on others? To choose when to die should be inclusive with our right of free choice. There are many people who can choose whenever they feel that their time is now. However, some of these people cannot perform the act themselves due to their personal condition. And while they are receiving medical help to prolong their life, if they want to end it, that choice is theirs. I feel that PAS is ethical because telling a person that they do not have the option to die is unethical. Jack Kevorkian's machine caused more hype than it should have, causing a man who was helping suffering people to be put in jail for the final decade of his life. Other states saw how Kevorkian was trying to start a PAS movement and began passing laws allowing for specific cases with physician-assisted suicides. While many disagree with the way people are assisted and how similar it is to lethal injection, there is no debate as to whether or not PASS is ethical. Every individual has the right to die, the right to determine when they want to, and they should have the federally legal right to act about their own wishes. Think back to the elderly woman who fell and has to spend her last immobile weeks in hospice. If she was happier with choosing to die in her own time, how can anyone deny her that wish? Terminally ill, depressed, or mentally ill patients should have the federal legal right to choose physician-assisted suicide.